What do you think is the number one reason why people will refer business to you? I'll share what that is, but let me tell you, so grateful to be here. And I'm so grateful for my journey in networking that I can't wait to tell you about. But I want to start with this. This obvious thing that most people underappreciate and overlook. And that is, if you want to move forward in life, you got to face your fears, right? And if you want to make the greatest forward progress that you've ever made, you got to face your greatest fears, and your greatest fear specifically. But what do most people do? They face every other thing except that thing that they know, if they leverage, will completely transform their life, and they'll be unrecognizable. They face their to-do list. They face every other thing except that thing. And let me tell you something. If Dr. Meisner was giving an award for the most terrified, terrible networker on the planet, you guys would not be able to compete with me. My story starts in my clinic in Toronto at age 27. My dad walks in my center and he says, "Son, I really love what you've done with the place, but it's missing one thing." And I'm like, there's no way that I overlooked anything. I said, "What's that, Dad?" He said, "Son, patience. This place is empty. It's a ghost town." And I said, "Dad, you got to wait for people to find out about me. I'm the new kid on the block." He said, "That's your first mistake. You don't wait for people to find out about you. You don't live like a cave dweller. You wait for nobody. You get out there and you network." You got to remember, guys, at the time, I was a terrible and terrified public speaker. And so the idea of networking and speaking in front of people was daunting, to say the least. I went home that night, and I remember literally shaking, shivering in bed, because I had two competing fears. I had the fear of speaking and networking, and I had the fear of having a failed business because I was struggling. I had anxiety, heartburn. I was overeating just to feel better. My line of credit was at the max. My credit cards were at the limit. And I wasn't able to connect with the people that were important in my life. My family, my friends, and my patients, despite doing what I love doing. A gentleman came into my office and he said, "Odie, you know what you need to fill this place?" I said, "What's that?" He said, "BNI." I was like, "What is that?" He explained it. And then he explained the time that they meet. And I said, "Did you say 6:30 in the morning?" And he said, "Yes." I woke up that morning, I looked outside. It was a cold winter day in Canada. It was pitch black, freezing cold. And I thought, there's no way I'm getting out of bed to go to some meeting to network. And then I heard the words of the late Jim Rohn. And he said, unsuccessful people are not willing to do what successful people are willing to do. Or in reverse, right? Successful people are willing to do what unsuccessful people are not. That got me out of bed. I went to BNI. The rest is history. Transformed my life. But you know what? For the last 20 years, thank you guys. Thank you so much. For the last 20 years, I've been trying to figure out why some people get referrals and some don't. What is the difference between effective networking and ineffective networking? And I can tell you, I've reached a place in my life, and I'm very thankful. I don't have to worry about the finances. Of course, you always want to look at the finances, but I'm not run by my fear of the finances. I don't experience anxiety about my career. And I'm really able to appreciate relationships in my life, personally and professionally. But what got me from there to here? It was perplexing, because I believe that the only thing better than getting referrals is knowing why. And the only thing worse than not getting referrals is not knowing why. And I believe that the concept of trust is an oversimplification of what is true when it comes to why people refer to you. Think about it. If trust was all that really mattered in the referral game, then your inner circle would be your number one source of referrals. How many of you actually get the majority, or let's just say a significant amount of business from your family and friends? Not a lot. So trust is important, as you'll see, but it's not everything. So if trust is not everything, what do you think is the number one reason why people will refer business to you? I'll share what that is, but let me tell you that there's 4 things you got to bring together. These are the 4 boxes you need to tick in the minds of others before you can expect a steady stream of referrals. If we're going to work trust into the conversation, and this is based on a book that I wrote with Dr. Ivan called Work Your Network with the 4 C's. People need to trust that you're effective at your job. No one's going to refer to you if they don't think you're an expert at what you do. No matter how much they trust you, you can give your phone to someone you trust. You can have them babysit your children. But just because you trust them as a human being, that doesn't mean you trust them to drill into your son's brain as a neurosurgeon. That doesn't mean you're going to trust them to take care of your finances and your retirement funds. So the first C is competence. If you want to take note of these 4 C's. The first C is competence. People need to trust you are good at your job. Of course, they need to trust you as a human being, which is credibility. So we have credibility, we have competence. But have you met people who you know are effective at what they do? They're competent. They're trustworthy. They're credible. But as Phil pointed out beautifully, you don't know what the heck they do. You don't understand what they do. And you don't understand what to say to open doors for them. Which brings us to the 3rd C, clarity of communication. They know exactly what you do. They may even know why you do it, and they know what to say to open the floodgates of referrals. I was speaking to a royal family member in Bahrain, and she said to me, Odie, this 4th C might be the most important C of all. Who has the first guess? Just shout it out as to what the 4th C could be. Congruence. Good guess. Cash. 4th C is connectivity. And it refers to the quantity and the quality of your connections. Imagine, you bring in a CEO to the meeting. You bring in an influencer to the meeting. Can you see how people will be perceiving you as someone to be well connected? And this isn't a new thing. Go back to the Neanderthal times, to the village times right now in the big city. People want to connect with people who are well connected. Because you being connected to them means they're connected to them.